What does the best practice org structure look like? What are some of the key roles that somebody would want to start with or have on the team? And then what challenges have you faced creating that business case to get the headcount you need?
That's always a challenge. So from my perspective, the best practice for an org structure, there's whether it depends on the size of you, if you have 3 people or whether you have 30 people, but basically you're doing 3 different functions in a customer education team. Customer education, you've got your instructional designer, your learning experience designer, your content development, right? That's one function that exists on customer education. Then you have another separate function, which is your training, your instructor-led. And then I separate out certification. And I keep those 3 as 3 separate functions. I think that's the best case to do it. And the reason is because people will try to hire one person to do all, those are unicorns. Or maybe they're even alicorns. I think they're harder to find than unicorns. Oh, alicorns, if you don't know what an alicorn is, an alicorn is a flying unicorn. They actually have wings. So it is a mythical beast from Ireland. And I think they're harder to find. To find someone that can actually deliver good training, can develop good training, can develop e-learning, and can do certification, they're 3 very different skill sets. So separating them out into that. And then if you can afford or get the headcount for, which I have never successfully done yet, is it would be wonderful to have a training ops person, but I've never been successful in getting that headcount for the training ops.
And what would the training ops person do?
The training ops would do a number of things that would really help. They can do some of the, they can do LMS admin. They can do, there's so many cross-functional meetings, and there's so many integrations that we run in customer education. We use a ton of tech stack. And when I was looking at it yesterday, I actually had to tell my procurement team how many different software that we were using just in the Visier University side. And I realized we're using 12 separate pieces of software just for the university piece, not including things like Microsoft 365 or the Google Suite, right? Just for our tech stack is that large. So having a training ops person to be able to manage all of the different tech pieces, and then send all of the campaigns, email campaigns, and manage all of that for us would be really sweet to have.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing your business case on that one. We can copy you. And then when you think of the course developers, how would someone figure out how many people they need to build the training, like in those 3 buckets, build the training, deliver, and then certification? How do you know how many you need, and what skill set would you typically look for if you were hiring someone or like pulling someone from within the team, within the company?
So the skill sets that I'm looking for are actually changing, which is interesting, and they're changing in part because of AI. So I do want so on the instructional side, so on the learning experience design or instructional design side, I've actually shifted away from instructional design and more towards learning experience design. I have a matrix that lists out the different skill sets for a course developer versus an instructional designer versus a learning experience designer. And the learning experience design takes a blend of both instructional design and sort of that UX ability, because you really need to be able to understand how things display on a screen. So you need some of that UX in order to be able to do it. With the change for AI that I'm looking for is I'm really going less on the instructional side, because what I'm finding is people who are super excited about instructional design and they're focused on the instruction and they love their process and they have a hard time giving up the traditional process and moving faster. With my LXDs, I have a content quota for my team. Each person needs to create at least 1 course a month in order to maintain their KPIs. So it's pretty aggressive, but it's actually pretty doable. And I do have a calculator that I can plug everything into to see how many courses we can do. And when I plug,
You do?
And it originally, it was created by Sharon Castillo. And so I've taken that and morphed that to be exactly what I need. So when I go to do a business case for my headcount, I simply say, how many courses do you want? Because this is how many courses I can create per person, and this is how many courses we can maintain, because you can't just create a course and forget about it. You have to maintain it. So being able to blend all of that is super important.